There was plenty of action through the first 4 rounds of the Mountain Dew ATV Motocross Championships. Young guns like Joel Hetrick and Thomas Brown, and veterans like John Natale and Josh Creamer tried to challenge defending series champion Chad Wienen. Things got wild at times, but Wienen won 3 of the first 4 races to re-establish himself as the man to beat. Now the championship hits the stretch run. Will Wienen be champion again? Welcome to Racer TV's coverage of the Mountain Dew ATV National Motocross Championships. We've already got 4 rounds in the books today. The highlights of the pink race, round 5, the Mountain Dew ATV Showdown, and Sunset Ridge in Walnut, Illinois. It's a home race for a defending series champion, Chad Wienen. Not the best start for Wienen here, but he's able to tuck to the inside as John Natale grabs the hole shot. Wienen quickly around him to the number 1 position. Josh Upperman here in 3rd, shadowing them until this big crash knocked him out of contention for the race win. Natale would hold on for 2nd in a great battle here between Joe Bird and Thomas Brown for the number 3 position. Brown would take that spot. His teammate Wienen on the Wienen Motorsports Yamaha takes the Moto victory to the delight of the Illinois fans. But you have to perform well in 2 motos on any given day to be the overall winner in an ATV motocross event. And as the heavens began to open and it got muddy and dark in Moto 2, Natale took off from the field. He was throwing the roost on them and they were catching it. The challenge would eventually come from the Can-Am BCS rider of Josh Creamer, who would knife his way past Natale. Creamer out of New England, certainly comfortable in these conditions. He wins the Moto, but a 5th in the first race would relegate him to 3rd overall. Wienen with 1-3 scores would edge Natale, who had a pair of 2nds. Next up, the Triangle Cycles ATV National at Birch Creek Motorsports Park in Virginia. Yes, of course, there was a visit from Mother Nature. Seems to be very consistent this year. The sun was out by the time we were racing, but the mud was very sticky, so you see the riders running all sorts of contraptions on their helmets, trying to keep their eyes shielded from the slop. Into the first turn of Moto 1, Joe Bird, multi-time series champ, gets out front. Wienen quickly able to get around him, take over the lead. You give Wienen that number 1 position, it's hard to stop. He's always been fast. The last few years, though, he's figured out the consistency game, and he continues to move away in the point standings with performances like that. A little bit more mixed up, though, here in Moto number 2. It's Natale grabbing the whole shot on his Motosport back Honda, and he was off to the races. Now, remember the consistency we mentioned with Wienen? Natale had problems in Moto 1. He was 13th. He was fresh for this. And they let him go and said, you can just take that Moto victory. Wienen finished 3rd in this race behind Josh Upperman. Again, 1-3 scores enough to win the overall. Next up, the Mountain Dew ATV Stampede in Delmont, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. We actually had to water the track for once. We did not get a visit from the rain gods. The Upperman fans, though, were here en masse. Also in attendance, Joel Hetrick, who had won a bunch of races earlier in the season before breaking his collarbone, back and 100% ready to go for the victory in this race. And it turned out to be a good one in Moto 1. Natale was off to the early lead. He's a Pennsylvania native. The fans were pumped on that. Hetrick up to 2nd, trying everything to get around the number 13. While Wienen stalks them in 3rd and says, this is how you make passes, kids. Goes around the outside of Hetrick and then goes to the inside of Natale. Natale never gives you much room on the track. He'll fight you as hard as he could, but he couldn't stop Wienen from taking another first Moto victory. And again, Wienen would play the consistency card in Moto number 2. Hetrick grabbed the whole shot and would just take off from there. He had some money from SSI decals as a reward for the start, but an even bigger prize, clear running room and a clear racetrack, while everyone else was left shuffling behind him. You gotta wonder what the kid from Seneca, PA could have done all season long had he had not gotten hurt at mid-season. He charged off to a strong Moto victory here, though, to show that he's back. But Wienen, once again consistent, 2nd in the Moto, would give him 1st overall. Thomas Brown joining Hetrick and Wienen on the podium. Next up, the legendary Unadilla Valley Sports Center for round 8. the Can-Am Northeastern ATV Nationals. This track, one of the oldest and one of the fastest on tour, and a huge crowd of fans have found that ATVs really seem to gel well on this racetrack in upstate New York. Now, Josh Upperman is known as the best starter in this series, and he's going to show you why firsthand with the GoPro onboard as he captures the SSI Decals Whole Shot Award in the first moto. But Wienen is right with him and then goes around the outside in a very daring move on the first lap. You see Upperman sawing at the handlebars, trying to find the right line to his ruts. Give up the lead. Vitali and Hetrick all right there. They could not run down Wienen. Vitali would finish as close second, Hetrick in third. Moto 2, Josh Kramer, who has been plagued by starts all year long, finally gets a good one, and he would pull away from Wienen, who is again playing the consistency card after that first Moto victory. It was spectacular, the racing here down the stretch. They caught big air on Unadilla's famous jumps, but Kramer was able to prove it. If he gets a start, he can run and beat anyone. But again, Wienen's consistency with 1-2 scores gives him another overall victory, and now he's able to start looking the championship right in the face. We go to the next to last round, the Rocky Mountain ATVMC National at RedBud in Michigan, just outside of South Bend, Indiana. This is a favorite racetrack for both the four-wheel and two-wheel set. Perfect dirt, perfect layout, and huge jumps. Now you've seen the first moto game plan for Wienen the last couple of races, and he plays it to perfection here, getting the good start. But Kramer is right behind him, and we know that Kramer, as well as Hetrick there in third, they have the speed to challenge the champ, and it was a duel. But Chad Wienen doesn't want the competition getting too confident. He would pull away down the stretch to prove he's still the man in this series. Good ride by his teammate Thomas Brown to snake through the traffic for second ahead of Hetrick and Kramer. Moto number 2, they're bumping and banging their way through there. Early lead goes to Joe Bird, multi-time series champ. Look at Wienen around the outside, though. Beautiful move early in the race to take over the number 1 position. And you throw in a rough loop section, and the big man from Galena, Illinois is going to be so hard to stop. He just owned RedBud. A 1-1 sweep, and Chad Wienen has enough points to collect his second consecutive championship. We'll be right back with more.
Find your flow with Maxxis Tires.
Racer TV is brought to you by Mountain Dew, by Amsoil, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, by Can-Am, and by Maxxis. Here we are, the final round of the Mountain Dew ATV Motocross Championship Series, the venerable Dirt Days National, brought to you by Can-Am and taking place at the legendary Loretta Lynn Ranch. It's a beautiful place to hold a race. It's a great place to just hang out. It's actually a fully functioning campground. So even if you don't have an ATV, it's quite the destination to spend a summer weekend. But these folks do. Nearly 1,000 riders on hand competing in a variety of amateur classes. We've shown you the highlights of the previous series events. And now the only thing left for Chad Wienen to do is sign some autographs, show off that fresh new number 1 plate, and try to beat the kids one more time and collect some bonus money for taking another overall victory. It's kind of cool, though, that the title's already wrapped up. It's going to be a gloves-off, no-holds-barred shootout for everyone, and we were greeted with, yes, more rain. Hey, that's how we started the year. That's how we ran most of the year. Why not do it one more time in the slop here in Tennessee? This track is pretty unique. It's actually pretty flat as far as elevation goes, but the jumps and the whoop sections that they've built in here makes it one of the toughest in the series. And you throw in the always unpredictable weather, and during the summer months in Tennessee, you never know what's going to happen. Look at that, rivals Kramer and Wienen actually discussing some strategy here for the mud. Thomas Brown sure looks concerned about what they're going to have to endure. There's Joel Hetrick. Love to end the season on a high note and maybe set himself up to go after Wienen next year. That's what it's all about for these guys, building momentum for 2014. Let's go racing. And it looks like John Natale has got the whole shot. SSI decals money coming the way of the motorsport.com rider. And it's Weenan right behind him. You see the mud pushed off to the side of the racetrack. Doesn't look too bad inside these main lines. Certainly not as bad as some of the mudders we had earlier this year. Now this is called the 10 Commandments. It's a difficult section of 10 different whoops. I think it's made a little bit more difficult by these conditions, which are really bogging the machines down. Natale trying to skip away here from Weenan early, putting in the big sprint. Now, they've got two different grooves on this racetrack. You see a lot of these bumps on the inner half of the corners. Normally that opens up lines for passing, but I'm going to think that on a day like today with the mud we had, these riders have to be very careful to stick to the main line. Thomas Brown over the handlebars, upside down, and he's okay, and he's back running. Unbelievable. Let's look at that again. Brown, catches the front end on that tabletop. He was still connected to the machine. I think his legs were stuck inside the foot pegs and the Nerf bars. It just got him launched back over, and he calmly hits the starter button, downshifts into first gear, and takes off. Unbelievable. Well, that is going to be the crash of the year. Weenan second, Jeff Restrelia, a young kid in the class, is third. Brown is actually fighting with this pack right now to get into fourth after going upside down and completely underneath a 400-pound ATV. I cannot believe the kid out of Texas. They say they're pretty tough down there, and he definitely proved it. Here's Natale, the veteran out of Pennsylvania. 2005 won this series championship and is getting away here. Second in the points last year, would like to be second this year. I'm sure the Ironman a little bit disappointed that Weenan was able to get away from him in points. But in any given weekend, the 13 can be number one. And that's where he's running here early in this first moto. He's got Weenan covered. He's actually pulled away quite a bit. Weenan with a couple of mistakes early. The lead is up to 5 seconds for Natale. And track's starting to come together. In fact, what was once some deep mud piles, it looks pretty tacky and loamy around the outside of these corners. There's Weenan in second. You saw in our highlights of the previous rounds, he has dominated the first motos this year. Content in second right now. And how about this? Thomas Brown, the wildest ride you'll ever see. And he is still in the third place position. That could have been a whopper of a crash. I can't believe he's not hurt, let alone back in this race and circulating in the top 3. But not Brown nor Weenan nor anyone else able to challenge Natale here, who is on the gas. And when he's on his game, the Ironman shows you what has made him one of the all-time greats in this sport. And I think he's probably enjoying the track conditions now. 1 corner to go. Natale in front of the fans here at the grandstands. And he's got the first moto here at our series finale. It's ATV Dirt Days from Loretta Lynn Ranch. Natale's got the win. Here is Weenan in second. And Thomas Brown looking to survive and finish third. He does make it happen. And we'll be back with more right after this. Natale going to try to win the overall and end the series on a high note. Stay tuned.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain Atvmx website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Now when the sun come up, I'll be there to say what up in the morning. Perfectly at peace, so I move along a bit higher. I'll be up a bit away, cause they gon' judge me anyway. So whatever, I'll be up a bit away.
Crack open a can of new Kickstart by Mountain Dew. The perfect mix of dew, real fruit juice, and just the right amount of kick. Kickstart your day.
Racer TV is brought to you by Mountain Dew, by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATVMC, by Can-Am, and by Maxxis. All right, folks, Jason Wygant here, your host on Racer TV. It's the last moto of the year, round 10 of 10, and the 20th out of 20 motos. We've got perfect weather for Moto 2 here at ATV Dirt Days, at Lynn Ranch. The mud that we had to scrape off the track for Moto 1, they've actually been able to put some of that back on and use that moisture to create perfect conditions. Look at the tape on the back of the neck of Thomas Brown. He completely flipped his ATV in Moto 1, landed back on his wheels, and finished third. He's back out here looking for more in Moto number 2. Upperman with the GoPro on board. Let's see how he does. And they're bumping and banging, and Josh Kramer has got the whole shot on the BCS Can-Am. One of the Yamahas able to close down in front of him, though, and that is Brown. So Thomas Brown, the teammate of Weenan on the Walsh Racecraft Weenan Motorsports SSI Team Volmer machine, into the lead. So the Yamaha's running strong, and how about Brown bouncing back from that epic crash in Moto 1 to grab the early lead in Moto 2 and tripling out of the 10 Commandments. This guy is on fire. Into Storyland we go as he tries to get away from Kramer, who's in second. And that has been the story of Kramer's season. Occasionally gets good starts. Most of the time he has been mired in the back. But right now, Thomas Brown has the adrenaline flowing. Already starting to distance himself from Kramer. And then it's Weenan up to the number 3 position. There's a tabletop where Brown went over the handlebars and flipped it in Moto 1. He's clearly put that behind him, blocked it out, and he's going to lead early here at Loretta Lynn's. Green flag flying. We got a clean first lap. Where is Natalia, your first Moto winner? He is buried. I'm not even sure if I saw him in the top 10. There's Joel Hedrick. Some different colors today. He's in 4th. He's pressing Weenan, so 2 battles to watch. It looks like Kramer in 2nd has settled into the pace of Brown and is putting the pressure on. You see Brown looking over his shoulder, trying to figure out where the number 9 is, and it is close. Now Hedrick, he's looking good there in 4th, pressing Weenan, and it looks like that's going to allow this to boil down to just these 2. Kramer had the ATVRiders.com Fast Qualifier Award today, so you know he has some speed, but Brown, he is taking it to another level. This track a lot rougher here in this second moto, and it seems to be suiting his style fine. Look at all these bumps. You see the machine never quite settling down underneath him. Wheeling over a couple of those bumps into this corner, and then launching out. Brown might want to go upside down in every race. He is on fire. Weenan and Hedrick are pushing it, but they are not quite able to keep pace with the man out of Texas. Now Brown's so strong in the series all year long, running 2nd in points, but he has yet to win an overall this year or in his career. And with Natalia way back, and Kramer didn't have the best of first motos, he finished 4th. The opportunity could be here for Thomas Brown to win the overall. A lot might depend on this battle. Weenan has been able to shed the pressure from Hedrick and is now going after Kramer for 2nd. Got to wheel the inside, but couldn't make the pass happen. Now he gets a good drive down that tabletop. Weenan trying to use the leverage. He's one of the tallest riders out there. Cannot make it happen. Fantastic battle here in the final moto of the year, and Weenan this time is able to make the pass. He's up to 2nd. Can he run down his Yamaha teammate up front? Stay with us.
The Can-Am Renegade 1000 XXC with the most powerful engine in the industry. The Outlander 1000 XT with a redesigned chassis for unequal trail riding. The Commander 1000 Limited, the most equipped, luxurious side-by-side in the industry. The facts say it's the most advanced lineup out there. But the ride says it all.
Any engine. Any season. At home. At the track. Or on the trail. AMSOIL, the first in synthetics.
ATV Motocross is brought to you by Mountain Dew, by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain Atvmx, by Can-Am, and by Maxxis. Final moments of the year here. NBC Sports continuing coverage of the Mountain Dew ATV Motocross Championship. It's a Yamaha 1-2. Josh Kramer and Joel Hetrick are third and fourth on a Can-Am and a Honda, but it's Thomas Brown and Chad Wienen leading the way here deep in the heart of Tennessee at the home of country music star Loretta Lynn. Loretta Lynn's ranch, pretty famous in racing circles thanks to the Bike Motocross Amateur National and here this ATV Pro National, and a battle is shaping up. Chad Wienen going after his teammate for the lead. As you watch Kramer and Hetrick still battling for third. I thought Kramer might have had the stuff to win this moto, started out right behind Brown, but you can see how Brown and Wienen have inched away from the BCS Can-Am man, and now if he wants a podium finish in this moto top three, he's going to have to deal with Hetrick on the Corrosion Racing machine. Hetrick down to the inside. Can't find a way around Kramer. Back up front, Brown through the 10 Commandments, trying to hold Wienen back. And Hetrick with a line on the outside of Kramer. Will it be enough to get to the number 3 spot? And it is. And this track, as we mentioned, has dried out quite a bit from all the rain we had earlier, and it dried out just in the nick of time for that outside line to work. That would have been a mud bog about an hour ago, but it worked for Hetrick, who's now into third and all by himself. So we'll go back up front and follow this battle for the lead. Brown versus Wienen, and it's for the moto win and for the overall. White flag is out. Brown's 3-1 finishes would edge a pair of seconds from Wienen, so everything is on the line here. Now Wienen runs his team. If he wants to not have to pay the win bonus to Brown, he can just try to make the pass here. Easier said than done. And honestly, they're just going to be every man for himself. Championship's decided. These two, I'm sure, are grinning ear to ear, fighting for the final moto win of the year. Wienen trying an inside line, can't make it work. Onto the infield we go. There's only 2 corners left. There's the jump that claimed Brown early. Here it is, last turn. Wienen knifes to the inside. He's got a line. Brown around the outside. Wide open. He looks over, and he has it. The moto victory. And with it, the overall for Thomas Brown. There's Hetrick. Good run for third. But it's a Yamaha day today and the first career victory for Thomas Brown. You know he's excited. Kramer and Upperman round out the top 5 today. What a way to end the season. Great racing right down to the end. Big congrats to Thomas Brown and our series champion, Chad Wienen, and thanks to you for watching. We'll see you next week on Racer TV.